All right, you ready for this? Grab a coffee, settle in. Because this story is a hell of a ride, and trust me, by the end, you might never look at your neighbors the same way again. So let me set the scene. Tuesday. I remember it clear as day, because Tuesdays are my personal purgatory, longest day at the office, brain fried, body running on fumes, and all I want is a little peace, maybe a cold beer, and to watch the sky change colors by my pool. You know, normal stuff. But this Tuesday, yeah, it was anything but normal. It started off with a bang, and by bang, I mean a full-on nuclear Karen encounter that felt like the opening credits to a reality show nobody asked for. I hadn't even been living in this place that long. Few months tops, mostly kept to myself, did my job, minded my business, didn't throw wild parties, didn't leave my trash cans on the street. You'd think I'd be the model neighbor, right? Well, not in her eyes. That morning I was just outside, watering my hydrangeas, humming to myself, when she storms out like the world's angriest parade marshal, marches right up to the property line with her arms crossed, a scowl so sharp it could cut glass. I give her the old morning, just trying to be polite. Bad move. You ever light a match in a gas leak? That was the vibe. She just explodes. People like you need to understand this is a respectable neighborhood. We don't appreciate your loud music and your strange cooking smells lowering our property values. Yeah, that happened. I mean, come on. I'm listening to podcasts on my earbuds, grilling chicken with a little garlic and rosemary, living my quiet life. Apparently, that's urban blight around here. She keeps going, talking about good, clean, all-American children and how my type is asking for trouble. And I'm just standing there, watering can in hand, trying to process the fact that I'm getting hit with a full-on racist drive-by before 9 a.m. For a second, I honestly didn't know what to say. But then I gave her the iciest, coldest, "you have a nice day now," and walked inside, hands shaking. I knew right then this neighbor thing wasn't going to be a simple wave across the driveway deal. But I had no idea that was just the appetizer. Because the main course? Oh, the main course was coming, served up by her darling son. I come home late, just bone tired, looking for some peace. All I want is to sit by my pool, decompress, shake off that morning. I kick off my shoes, head for the back patio, and the second I open the door, wham. The smell hits me like a sack of rotten bread. It's not chlorine. It's frat house. I step outside, eyes land on the pool, and I just freeze. My crystal clear pool is wrecked. Beer cans bobbing on the surface, brown bottles sinking to the bottom, a sudsy film floating on top. It's a disaster, personal and violating. And then, over by the fence, a chunky, yellowish mess running down the white vinyl. Someone puked. In broad daylight, someone used my backyard as their private dump. Now, I'm angry, but I'm also wired for detail. It's my job, after all. I document everything. Wide shots, close-ups, timestamps. Then I remember my cameras, top of the line, motion sensors, the whole deal. So I pull the footage. Nothing. Then, jackpot. There he is. Her son, stumbling drunk, hopping the fence, dumping beer into my pool, laughing to himself like he just discovered fire. Then, as a finale, he lets it all out on my fence. Beautiful. Caught in glorious high def. So what do? I gather my evidence, take a deep breath, and march next door, expecting a rational adult conversation. The door opens, and there's her husband, meek as a dormouse. Then she appears, arms crossed, already hostile. I lay it out. Your son trespassed, vandalized my property, dumped beer in my pool, puked on my fence. She doesn't even flinch. My son is a good boy. You're just trying to cause trouble because you don't fit in here. The casual racism, again, like armor. So I show the video. Her husband turns white. She goes nuclear, accuses me of filming her minor son, starts screaming about calling the cops on me for being a predator, claims it's a harmless prank. You know what I mean? It's pure deflection, Olympic-level mental gymnastics. When I say, "You're paying for this damage, $2,000, pool and fence," she loses it. "We're not paying you a red cent, get off my property." Okay, fine. Time for the law. But this story is about to go sideways, because just when you think you're playing by the rules, you find out the rules are rigged. The next morning, certified letter from the HOA, complaint about my invasive security cameras, threat of daily fines. Guess who signed the complaint? Karen herself. She's not just denying, She's launching a counterattack. All right. I report the vandalism to the police, thinking, surely, with video proof, justice will be swift. Nope. Cops show up, look at the video, shrug. It's a prank, sir. Civil matter. Your best bet is small claims court. They knock on her door. She shakes her head, and that's it. End of story as far as they're concerned. I'm left with a broken pool, a threat from the HOA, and a neighbor who thinks she's untouchable. That helplessness, man. It's a real punch in the gut. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because my day job? I'm a senior forensic auditor for a federal agency. I find fraud where other people see paperwork. I follow money, spot lies, and I'm patient, scary patient. So, I decide, if the system won't help me, I'll use the system, just in ways Karen and her family can't even imagine. I dig. Public records, social media, LLC filings. The husband's consulting business is a shell, registered to the house. No online presence, no clients. But he somehow bought a brand new pickup truck. Then I check PPP loan records. Remember those pandemic relief funds? Yeah, his business pulled in over $200,000 in 2 loans. For 8 employees who don't exist. Classic fraud. I put together an anonymous tip for the SBA, perfectly packaged, bulletproof evidence, no fingerprints back to me. And then I wait. Meanwhile, Karen's going door to door, bad-mouthing me to the neighbors, trying to turn the street against me. But one guy, Frank, older guy across the street, pulls me aside and tells me stories. This family has been terrorizing the neighborhood for years. The son's a menace, but nobody ever had proof. The HOA is Karen's weapon, used to keep everyone in line. Suddenly, it's not just my fight. I'm fighting for every neighbor she's ever bullied. Weeks pass, then months. My lawyer shuts down the HOA's nonsense, but the tension stays high. Then one night, my cameras catch the kid again. This time, methodically pouring bleach on my hydrangeas. Not a prank. This is a message. And I let it play out, because now I'm documenting a pattern, something bigger than a one-off prank. And then, 3 months after my tip, I see a gray sedan parked across the street. 2 suits, badges, the whole bit. They interview Karen and her husband for hours. Frank calls me. He talked to them too. The investigation is real, and the neighborhood buzzes with rumors. Karen unravels. Her morning patrols stop. The family turns inward, and I watch their downfall unfold from my office window. It's almost poetic. The best part? I start using the HOA rules against her. Every infraction, every little violation, I document and report. Little white envelopes start piling up in her mailbox, and I get to watch her rage grow every time she reads one. The tyrant becomes the target. Eventually, the for sale sign goes up on their lawn. FSBO, desperate. They're out. Moving trucks, pale faces, no more arguments, just quiet surrender. The day they drive off, Frank brings over a 6-pack and we toast to the victor. The war's over. My yard is peaceful again. But then comes the final twist. New neighbors move in, sweet family, cookies at the door, life is good. And then Frank drops the real bomb. Turns out, when the feds dug into the husband's fake business, they also found the son was running a prescription pill operation at the high school, using the dad's shell company to launder money. The mother's whole crusade was the perfect smokescreen. Their reign of terror, it turns out, was just cover for a much darker criminal enterprise. The husband gets 3 years in federal prison, loses everything. The son goes to juvie for a year. Karen, well, her punishment is living with the shame, losing her home, and watching her empire of pettiness collapse. The HOA chills out, neighbors actually talk, and peace returns. Some nights I sit by my clean, blue pool and think about it all. It started with a beer can, a racist rant, and a garden hose. Ended with indictments, prison, and a family exiled from their suburban kingdom. The lesson? Never underestimate what a quiet, detail-oriented neighbor can do if you push him far enough. And never, ever mess with a man's swimming pool. So that's my story. Suburban revenge, federal justice, and a neighborhood reborn. Now, if you've got thoughts about right and wrong, or if you've ever had a neighbor like mine, yeah, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment, argue it out. Tell me where you stand on justice and community and the fine art of getting even. And hey, next time someone tries to drown your peace with a little petty evil, just remember, sometimes the best revenge is knowing exactly where to look. and having all the time in the world to burn their world down and never leave a trace. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'm going for a swim. The water's perfect,